Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kaviriti and I'm from Batch 20. I welcome you all to my technical seminar presentation for the topic Digital Assistance to Visually Impaired under the guidance of Professor Hona Raju sir and my co-evaluators Professor Kavya Ravishankar ma'am and Professor Victor sir. These are the contents that I followed in our presentation. Coming to introduction, blindness as well as the low vision are the conditions where people have decreased ability to see and visualize outside world. This reduces their mobility and productivity in completing a daily task. Blind people usually depend on experiences or some other smart sticks or some other people to help them in walking and avoiding obstacles. They do not have a sense of sight, which makes them highly dependent on the memory. Also, they cannot be aware of sudden changes in our surroundings, which makes it almost impossible to react to an instantaneous situation. The objective is to change the visual world into an audio world by notifying the blind people about the objects in their path. This will help them to navigate independently without any external assistance, just by using a real-time object detection system. The application uses image processing and the machine learning techniques to determine real-time objects to the camera and inform blind people about the objects and its location through the audio output. Moving on to literature survey, the first paper that I referred here, Android-based object detection system for visually impaired, and the authors are Ajanka Brave, Ratin Jagtap, Sarojini Kulkarni, and Shivani Haratwad, which was published in the year June 7, 2020 by the International Conference on Industry Technology. In this paper, they designed and implemented an Android application that will use a cell phone's camera to detect an objects around the user and also inform the user about the name, direction, and the distance of an object using an audio device. The object detection will be done using a TensorFlow object detection API model that can classify 80 objects by default. The system is able to detect the objects around the user with 87% accuracy. Then the second paper, the real-time object detection for visual challenged people, which was published in the year June 3rd, 2020 by the International Conference on Intelligent Computing and Control Systems. In this paper, YOLO V3 algorithm is used for object detection. For feature extraction, they uses a Darknet 53 convolution layer. It acts as a backbone for YOLO V3 object detection approach. Almost 70% of an objects that were present at the time are detected and notified to the user. The average computational time required for a detection was 2000 milliseconds. The model achieved a maximum accuracy of 85.5% in a mobile phones and 89% in a web application. Then the next paper is a smart glasses application system for visually impaired people based on a deep learning, which was published in the year September 2020. In this paper, they proposed a wearable smart glasses application for object detection. Uses Epson BT300 smart glass combined with the deep learning and the TTS to develop an application system suitable for visually impaired people to adapt the environment. The system uses a voice response to user about the object in front of them by uploading the photos to the backend object detection system through the camera function of smart glass. The download text description of a result and then use a text to speech function. The proposed system takes 3.788 seconds to output the results, and the success rate of the object detection is 96.3%. Then the next is object detection and classification using a YOLO V3, which was published in the year 2nd February 2021 by IJERT. This paper explains the architecture and working of an YOLO algorithm for the purpose of detecting and classifying the objects, just trained on the classes from a COCO dataset. Here, COCO basically means the dataset images are the daily objects recorded on everyday scenes and provides a labeling of multi-objects with a total of 81 categories, making it a very flexible. In the next slide, we see a working flow of an application. On launching the application, the device camera is launched automatically. Then the camera captures the real-time view. Then the real-time view is then processed with the OpenCV. At each instant, detected objects are shown with the boxes enclosing the objects, labels, and their confidence score. The detected objects and the absolute location of the objects with respect to the frame are then notified to the visually impaired people through the voice output. Next, we have methodology. Here, YOLO first takes an input as a real-time view. Then the framework divides the input image into a grids. The image classification and the localization are applied on each grid. YOLO then predicts the bounding box and their corresponding class probabilities for objects. Here for the bounding box prediction, YOLO uses a dimensional cluster to generate an anchor box. It will predict only one bounding box per year for one ground truth box. Here ground truth box refers to the desired bounding box of an algorithm. So the bounding box can be represented using a four descriptor: the center of a bounding box, bx, by, width, bw, height, by, and the value c is correspond to the class of an object, that is a person, cell phone, car, bicycle, or any other. The predicted value pc is probability of an object in the bounding box. Object in a score means how confident the model is that the box contains an object and how accurately the box has predicted the object boundaries. YOLO V3 predicts the objectiveness score using a logistic regression, which where 1 means complete overlap of bounding box real over the ground truth box. Grid cell responsible for detecting an object. If the midpoint of an object falls into a grid cell, then that cell is responsible for detecting the object. Image is passed through the large number of convolution layers, extracting the feature maps at different points. The features learned by the convolutional layers are passed onto a classifier, which makes the detection prediction. In YOLO, the prediction is done by using a convolution layer which uses a 1 cross 1 convolutions. So each cell predicts a B number of bounding boxes with a confidence score for each of the boxes. Here, the class confidence represents the probability of the detected objects belong to a particular class. YOLO V3 uses a multi-label classification. It simply uses independent logistic classifiers and the threshold values to predict the multiple labels for an object. During the training, the class predictions are done using the binary cross entropy method. For each anchor box, computer element first product to extract the probability that the box contains a certain class. For example, if the highest class probability is say 0.65 with a class equal to 5, that the class 5 represents the dog, then the bounding box has detected a dog with a probability 0.65. Then we apply a non-max suppression. Here we see the purpose of a non-max suppression is to select the best bounding box for an object and reject all the other bounding boxes. Here we can see, for example, the object dog has a number of bounding boxes with a different objectiveness score. Here we have to choose the best bounding box for an object. So the non-max suppression takes two things into account. The objectiveness score is given by the model, the overlap of the bounding boxes. First, we filter the boxes based on their objectiveness score. Generally, boxes having a scores below a threshold are ignored. Then we have to select the box with the highest objectiveness score, then computing the overlap of this box with the other boxes. Then removing the bounding box with the overlap more than the threshold, that is greater than 50%. Then move to the next highest objectiveness score. The same process goes for the remaining boxes. This process runs iteratively until there is no more reduction of boxes. Then it outputs the image with the labeled objects. Then the output will be in a voice format, providing the name of an object, distance of an object from the user, and the direction of object. For example, the audio message is a car is at 10 meters to the left. So we have used a text-to-speech library for audio output. The direction will help the user to determine the exact location of an object, enabling them to navigate around in a better way. In order to determine the direction, we will divide the image into 3 parts along the length of the screen. The ratio of these lengths is 3:4:3. The portion of an image in which the center of an object lies will determine the direction of an object. For example, if the center of an object lies in the first portion of the screen, its direction will be left. The coordinates of the center can be calculated using the coordinates of bounding boxes. Here is a YOLO V3 network architecture. YOLO is a single-shot object detection algorithm introduced in 2016. It is computationally very fast and can be used in a real-time environment. The main reason is that the entire image is processed only once with a single CNN, thus it is called as a single-shot object detection algorithm, where it maintains a high accuracy range. YOLO V3 uses a variant of DarkNet, a framework to train on neural networks, which has the 53 layers. For the detection task, another 53 layers are stacked on it to a total 106 layers, fully convolutional architecture. Here we see the pink blocks are the residual blocks, and the orange ones are the detection layers, and the green ones are called the upsampling layers. In a residual setup, the output of layer 1 are added to the output of layer 2. The second, the detection layer, which performs a detection at the 3 different scales or stages. The third is an upsampling layer, which increases the spatial resolution of an image. Here, the image is upsampled before it is scaled. Also, the concatenation operation is used to concatenate the output of previous layer to the present layer. Addition operation is used to add a previous layers. The role of ConNet is to reduce the images into a form which is easier to process without losing features which are critical for getting a good prediction. The element involved in carrying out the convolution is called as the kernel or the filter. The objective of convolution operation is to extract in high-level features such as the edges from an input image. Conventionally, the first conv layer is responsible for capturing the low-level features such as edges, color, gradient, orientation, etc. With added layers, the architecture adapts to the high-level features as well. The shape of a detection kernel is 1 cross 1 cross B cross 5 plus C. Here, B is the number of the bounding boxes SL on the feature map can predict, and 5 is for the 4 bounding box attributes and 1 object confidence, and C is the number of classes. In a YOLO V3, it makes prediction across the different scales, 3 different scales. The detection layer is used to make a detection at a feature maps of 3 different sizes, having a strides 32, 16, 8 respectively. The stride means the network downsamples the image by a factor called stride of a network. Generally, the stride of any layer in the network is equal to the factor by which the output of the layer is smaller than the input image to the network. The feature map produced by this kernel has identical height and width of the previous feature map and has a detection attributes along the depth. The first detection is made by the 82nd layer. For the first 81 layers, the image is downsampled by the network such that 81st layer has a stride of 32. If we have an image of 416 cross 416, the resultant feature map would be of size 13 cross 13. One detection is made here using a 1 cross 1 detection kernel, giving us a detection feature map of 13 cross 13 cross 255. Then the feature map from a layer 79 is subjected to a few convolution layers before being upsampled by twice. This feature map is then depth concatenated with a feature map from a layer 61. Then the combined feature map is again subjected to a few conversion layers to fuse the features from an earlier layer. Then the second detection is made by the 94th layer, yielding the detection feature map of 26 cross 26 cross 25. The similar procedure is followed again. This means with an input of 416 cross 416, we can make a detections on a scale 13 cross 13, 26 cross 26, and 52 cross 52. The 13 cross 13 layer is responsible for detecting the large objects, whereas the 52 cross 52 layer detects the smaller objects with the 26 cross 26 layer detecting a medium objects. At each scale, each cell produces a 3 using the 3 anchors, making the total number of anchors used 9. The output is a list of bounding boxes along with the recognized classes. If there are any bounding boxes that don't confidently describe an object, we'll ignore them based on the threshold. Here we see the result analysis of a different object detection algorithm. The first is an RCNN algorithm with a speed is 0.05 frames per second, which can take 20 seconds per image for the processing. The high computational time, as each region is passed to the CNN separately, also it uses a three different model for making up predictions. It still take a huge amount of time to train the network, as if you have to classify 2000 region proposal per image. So it cannot be implemented real time as it takes around 47 seconds for each test image. The selective search algorithm is a fixed algorithm, therefore no learning is happening at the stage. This could lead to the generation of bad candidate region proposals. Then next we have a fast RCNN, which the speed is 0.5 frames per second. The selective search is a slow and hence computation time is still high. It also uses a selective search as a proposal method to find the regions of interest, which is a slow and time-consuming process. It takes around 2 seconds per image to detect an object, which is much better than compared to RCNN. But when we consider large real-life datasets, then even a fast RCNN doesn't look so fast anymore. Then you have a faster RCNN. Here, the object proposal takes time and there are different systems working one after the other. The performance of a system depends on how the previous system has performed. The algorithm requires many passes through the single image to extract all the objects. As there are different systems working on one after the other, the performance of the system further ahead depends on how the previous system performed. And its speed is 0.7 frames per second. And then next we have a YOLO. It is computationally very fast and can be used in a real-time environment. And their entire image is processed only once with a single CNN. It learns representation that can be generalized. For example, if you train it on any dataset or any other COCO dataset, you can use it for other applications like a crop disease identification and detection, or you can use it in a biomedical imaging. It maintains a high accuracy range as claimed by the authors. The advantages and the limitations. Advantages are it is computationally very fast and can be used in a real-time environment. It learns a generalizable representations and it is a single-shot object detection algorithm which maintains a high accuracy range. And the limitations are it struggles to detect a smaller objects that appear in a groups such as flocks of birds. The model will lag and accuracy of detection will reduce when a camera is moving at a speed faster than the detection speed of a YOLO algorithm. That is, if the camera is capturing more than 45 frames per second. The accuracy of detection in a darkness should also be improved. And the conclusion here, the proposed system can help our visually impaired people by notifying them of the surrounding objects and absolute location. The objects that were present at the time were detected and notified to the user. The average computational time required for the detection was 2000 milliseconds. More than 75% of an objects are detected and recognized accurately at a time. The model achieved a maximum accuracy of 85.5% in a mobile application and 89% in a web applications. And the future works are, if the objects are hidden by the obstacles, then they are not captured in the camera and not detected. This will also be considered in the future stages. The systems can be equipped with optical character recognition that can recognize the text and read out to the user for identification of hoardings or areas. An additional module of exact location of a user by using a phone's GPS and navigating the user by Google Map API along with the object detection on the way can also be added. And the system can be trained to recognize the people who are frequently encountered by the user, such as the family members and friends, using a facial recognition algorithm. These are the references that I referred for my technical seminar. And thank you.
Kavya madam, Victor sir, any questions?
Gee, Raju sir. Yes, sir. Okay, Kaveri. Kaveri.
Sir?
Are you there, Kaveri?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well presented. Now go to your slide quickly. Yeah. Start from I saw something there in the not the future work. Okay, yeah. Okay, go up. I think in the methodology, okay, yeah, methodology section, I saw something. Okay, stop here first. Yeah, stop there. Yeah, okay, stop here. Let me ask you something here. So if you see this, we are talking about YOLO version 3, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you look up? I mean, did you check some versions of YOLO that were actually better than version 3? Because I want to connect this with the limitations which version 3 was exposed to. Okay, do you know the latest version of YOLO?
So YOLO 4 is being developed.
Latest version being developed. Okay, but that is wrong actually. YOLO 4 is already developed and it's actually better than most what you have in YOLO version 3. And YOLO version 5 actually is still there at the beta stages and it promises to give better results actually. So the thing is, there are papers also, okay, that have implemented this. Now, see the problem here, you see bounding box, right? So if you look at the final decision, this has been making the rounds since 2016. By the way, do you know when version 3 was released?
So 2018
Yes, version 1 was when?
version, sir?
Version 1, YOLO version 1 was when?
2016.
Okay, so this was the image from 2016. Do you agree to that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. So the paper referring 2020 paper still citing back to this. Now, see the problem with bounding boxes. So see, the issue here is I want to get the shape of this dog exactly, right? So instead of using this now, they also propose another one. I can't get the name, but let me call it a dynamic bounding box now. Instead of me drawing some static rectangles, right? I have to purely segment this image from that. Now, why is this actually a challenge that needs addressing? Just imagine there are two of these German, what do you call it, huskies. I think they are husky, right? Okay, so these two of these huskies, okay, that are facing each other. You got my point? So this husky is here, okay, and another husky is just behind it. So in that, this one is kind of partially blocking the view of that, okay? So occluding that other one. So what will happen here? The bounding box will only segment the both of them as one, right? But just imagine that I want to count this. I want to know how many of them that are there, right? Because apart from segmenting, if I ask you the question, how many kitty dogs are there? You should be able to answer. And this was almost of the demerits that were faced by YOLO version 3 that version 4 promises to answer, okay? So after this is done, then we can actually see that there are actually papers that were there. And yesterday I read one, actually it was about detecting images without without bounding boxes, okay? So because the problem with bounding boxes, I just highlighted one, right? So in that paper, it was proposed, I think, by some researchers in Purdue University in the US. So in that also they use that because these forms, segmentation forms a kind of, what do you call it? A stepping stone into classification or something like that, right? So now go to the algorithm part. I have something for you there. Go to the algorithm part.
Which slide, sir?
Next slide. No, not. I think result analysis or something. Where you are, the architecture of yeah. Stop here. Yes. The next architecture of something. Yeah. Next one. Previous one. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So remember what is this actually? Architecture of V3, right? YOLO version 3. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you said something about stride. You said something about stride, no?
Yes, sir.
I can see stride of 16, stride of 32. So a simple question, consider an image that is of size, okay, 16 cross 16 cross 1. That means like 1 into 16 into 16, okay? Let's make it simple. 8 cross 8 is the size of the image, okay?
Okay, sir.
8 cross 8. And I'm choosing a kernel. You know, kernel is also known as a filter, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? So I've chosen a kernel of 3 cross 3. I'm superimposing it on that image size of 8 cross 8. What will be the output? An image is of size 8 cross 8, and I'm using a filter of 3 cross 3. After I perform convolution, what will be the output? What will be the size of the image?
Sir, I don't know, sir.
So the reason is, most of these things mirrors what your CNN, where because you spoke something about upsampling, downsampling, right? You can see it there.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
stride length. Yes. Okay, stride length and stuff. So you should know what exactly happens when we see upsampling also is there, right? So you should understand how upsampling happens. Okay, and you should know why we are doing that. Because this process is actually known as convolution, right? So the aim is we want to see, given an image, what is in this image? What do computers see? Obviously, you know, computer sees only pixels, right? It doesn't see images. So if the computer sees this now, you should understand how the computer sees that, right? And why do we choose stride length, okay, in that, okay? And if we say this is a filter of this, and why do we choose stride? You know, when stride 16, do you know what it means actually? Do you know what stride colon 16 means there? See there, that means they have chosen a stride length of 16. So that means there's so much jump was there for us to convolve, okay, to the object in question, right? To the image in question. Gaviria, did you understand what I'm trying to explain?
Yes, sir.
Look at this image in which you have, let's start with the first one, scale 1, stride 32. Then scale 2, stride 16. Then scale 3, stride 8. Did you understand what I'm trying to explain now? So in this case, they have chosen some filter and they are taking a jump. So that stride looks like what? How much am I going to jump to get to this image? So they took a long jump and then they are reaching there. So why was all these things happening? Right? So you should understand that from the concept of convolution and pooling. Okay, because that is what happens here now, and then at the end of the day, we see we are able to again to see we upsampled it. Okay, but in version 4 and 5, you see in between they also apply some stuff and downsampled the image, and they got a better accuracy. Okay, because here accuracy was 95%, no, sorry, 85%, 85, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, 85. So you look into some papers also, there were ones that actually got the higher accuracy. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Okay, and yeah. That's it. Overall, you presented well. Okay, that's all from my side.
Thank you, sir.
Kavya madam.
There are no questions from my end. The presentation was good. You can carry on.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, bye, Anurag ji. Bye, sir. Kavya ma'am, bye.
Bye, sir.
Kavya, meeting end, madam. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.